During a recent excavation of a cremation by archaeologist Derek Pierce, a rare Bronze Age artefact was discovered.
This was one of the most horrific experiences I had in archaeology. I was called over and somebody said, "Is this anything?" And that was dumped in my hand. And we were looking for a burial site, probably of a splinter group from the particular Baptists or somebody like that. That was a date of about 300 years old. That was dropped into my hand. I knew it was bronze, which came after the Stone Age and before the Iron Age. And that was all I knew about it at the time. But it's come up with a date of 1485 BC from the cremation that was found underneath it. Presumably this was to guard him on his way to Valhalla or wherever he was going. But the kick that I got, it was just like a punch in the stomach from the adrenaline of finding something totally unexpected.
I mean, it's a fantastic find. I mean, finding it with the cremation obviously is giving you a really good date for it, and it does fit in well with that type of object. These sort of flat knife type objects, with tang, with the riveted tang. Not very large, so unlikely to have been used as a weapon. More likely to be just a personal knife, probably for domestic use. I think some in the past have been referred to as razors, but it's unlikely they would have been used for shaving.
That gives me an odd feeling as well.
They did have specific type of metalwork for shaving, which are also called razors, and they're more likely to have been used like that.
So where exactly did the people of the Bronze Age actually get the copper ore for smelting to enable them to produce tools and weapons? The answer was that it was mined from large known deposits, including Alderley Edge in Cheshire and famously the Great Orme Mines in Llandudno, North Wales. If you get a chance to visit Llandudno, then visit to the mines is a great experience, and guided tours are available deep into the mines themselves. Hammerstones were used to chip away at the rock in an attempt to break away pieces that could be brought back to the surface before being processed to extract the raw copper by heating it in furnaces. The addition of tin ore is what made such a high-grade bronze possible. During my research and investigations, I have recovered many examples of bronze casting waste left behind by Bronze Age man, including this bronze riser that has come from a mould. Notice the long thin section that would have fed the mould with molten metal, and at the top is where the excess bronze had gathered in the neck of the mould. This early Bronze Age miniature axe was recovered during my investigation into what I believe to be an ancient settlement. We can see how the axe has been shaped and polished, giving it an almost perfect blade. The shaft end would have been hafted into a wooden handle and possibly used as a small chisel. But it was now time to take stock and look in more detail at just what evidence I had recovered from my investigations into this prehistoric site that until 2 weeks ago had been previously unknown in the area. The results were amazing, and with the number of work flint implements exceeding more than 60, then there had obviously been something very special happening at this site. Prehistoric man had been living here for as far back as 6000 BC, and no doubt hunting wild animals that would have been prolific as they roamed the floodplain created by the confluence of the two rivers in the valley. Even in the early Bronze Age, nomadic hunter-gatherers would have roamed the land in search of wild boar, deer and birds. Flints were worked by using a small hammerstone, and in some cases antlers were used. The method of making flint implements is known as knapping and involved the flaking and working of the flint to produce blades, knives and tools. As well as the flint implements recovered from the site, the discovery of this human molar tooth could prove to be one of the most important discoveries to come from the area. The amount of vital evidence that it may contain could indeed solve the mystery of who was living here during prehistoric times. This tooth is clearly from an adult human being. The tooth is complete and the root still intact, but if we examine it more closely, we can see a great deal of surface wear to the enamel, and this was probably caused by eating foods that were gritty due to the diet of prehistoric man. Much of his food would have been ground using stone, and this resulted in a high abrasion of teeth, and although his life expectancy was probably only about 30 years old, it could still have caused him severe problems. If we turn this particular tooth over, we can see a small hole running through the centre of the tooth, probably resulting in severe toothache. So even thousands of years ago, prehistoric man had similar dental problems as modern man does today. This tooth was left behind from a cremation close to our site, or even more exciting, it could just be that it was removed and discarded whilst its owner was still alive. So, with all of this evidence already recovered from the site, we can be sure that prehistoric man lived and hunted here. But what is more exciting is the fact that over the next few years, more evidence will be recovered, and who knows, we may even locate further clues to the burials and cremations that still lay undiscovered below the fields of this ancient landscape. I mentioned earlier in the programme that I had discovered evidence of a previously unknown Roman fortlet just 1 mile away from the prehistoric encampment. Dating back to the 1st century, this Roman military installation was built on the highest ground in the area, providing an easily defended site while protecting an important crossroads.